Hello, everybody who's just tuning in for Ashton College's Red Seal Prep Courses info session here today. My name's Matthew. I'll be our host. I'm here with Chad, one of the instructors for our Red Seal courses. He's going to be answering some of your questions about how the courses are delivered, format, and I believe you are our electrician instructor as well. So if maybe a little bit of insight about that if it comes up. In the background, we have a couple of my amazing colleagues, Rita and Maggie, to answer all your admissions questions, and Rika will be managing all the back-end stuff. So on that note, whether you're joining us here for Zoom, whether you're joining us on Facebook when that's live, or joining us today from YouTube or in the future on YouTube, welcome. So Chad, how are we doing?
Not too bad. Thanks for asking.
All right. So to get this started, could you talk to us a little bit about your experience, your education, and what's brought you to teaching in general?
Well, I've been an electrician since I graduated high school. I've always been in some version of electrical training. It seemed a natural progression, so I just jumped in. I've been more or less 30 years in the trade. So,
okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about the teaching side? How did you come to that?
So, well, I've been fortunate enough to be able to attend a lot of training. So over the years, I just kind of put together my own portfolio, and next thing you know, there's a job opportunity and kind of get you out of the cold. So there you go.
Hey, I understand, and we're lucky to have you. So, like, now we've got a sense of like how you came to teaching, a little bit about who you are. Like, so if you're attending this course, this info session today, you probably have an idea. But in case this is all brand new, what is a Red Seal certification?
Well, there's many trades that use Red Seal. Some are mandatory, some aren't. Electrical is mandatory, so you have to have a Red Seal, or be a part of the apprenticeship program that leads to the Red Seal. But it's a nationally recognized program, so that means that if you were to get certified in one province, that means you're certified in all the provinces. So, it's basically covers all the steps leading up to being a journeyman electrician. So all the provinces adopt it. Yeah.
So it's like the universal ticket to anywhere you want to go in Canada. I can clearly do this.
Yeah, it really speaks to the word journeyman, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're on a journey. So a lot of times you have to I've in my career, I've had to go across the country, different parts of the country, maybe the tar sands for work, and large projects in BC, and they recognize your certification there. So it's portable. Really, that's what makes you portable. Yeah.
All right, that's good. So obviously this course is more on the like preparation to write the big exam. So what is this course going to help you develop to get you ready?
Well, basically students after some form of education, maybe high school, some apprenticeship, depending on where they are in life. Maybe they're coming back into the electrical program, and they're putting together some sort of portfolio so they can present themselves to the ministry so they can write the certificate. Basically, this is the way to challenge, or if they've already challenged, it's a indication to the ministry that you've took extra training to make yourself qualified. So they just don't want you to keep going in, just trying to pass a test. They actually want you to do some training. So.
Yeah, of course. No, I definitely feel a lot more confident knowing that anyone who is doing the work actually knows what they're doing. Like, it's very easy to say one thing otherwise.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And yeah, so obviously like this is prepping you for the certification part of the exam. So how are these courses structured?
So, well, I try to make it student centered. There's people that come from all different walks of life. So basically, I present them with the Red Seal preparation guide, and it's on the website if you actually want to go look at it in advance. A lot of information there. Make sure everybody's well aware of that. There's the National Occupational Analysis, which is basically what the test is made up of. So I try to get the students to fall in line with their own study guide,
Mhm.
and in regards to the different uh, the different categories. So there's a certain amount of questions per category, and it's very transparent on the website. So we dig into that a little bit, but for the most part, I try to strengthen their electrical theory and code theory and make a bridge towards the practical. So a lot of people have a lot of practical experience, but they don't see how it connects with the theory portion. And again, the code always, the code is, I did say again, but I mean, the code is a major impact on any electrical course or program. So we're going to make sure you know how to read that.
Of course.
And the platform we're going to use, or we're using, is MindTap. And we're leading with Telmar's 7th edition. So it's an ebook, comes with a lot of resources. And I'm really confident that you can get all the theory and in a you're on your own time frame, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Is that
Yeah.
it's not like in your face, you have to do that, have to do that. It's more or less a systematic approach that you can develop and work with me.
Yeah, so it's sort of like having someone you can work through it with rather than like having to do it on your own, which
Yeah,
can definitely be helpful if like this is the first time you've had to write a test like this, or you haven't written a test period in years, decades even.
100%.
Yeah. All right. So, how would you describe your personal teaching style? Because you are like, because like anyone who's coming through our electrical prep courses will be with you.
Well, basically the simple version would be a student-centered version, especially for mature students. Find out what they need. But my basic adult learning theory, if you want to get down to it, comes from Malcolm Knowles, adult learning or andragogy. Um, I'm a constructivist, which just means that I like to make sense of the things around me. I kind of look at it from how things are built, and I reconstruct things. And I think a lot of people in the trades do that.
Mm,
They're familiar with how things have to go together, or build with them and their own skills. That's kind of like an apprenticeship. So one of the quotes, I think the author was Ed Olson. He says, "Tell me, I may hear; show me, I may see; in, involve me, and I understand."
there you go.
So I think that's really where I come from. Is that, yeah, you can tell me stuff, yeah, show me stuff, but I really want to understand. I need to understand what I'm doing, especially with electrical and electrical safety hazards. You can't
Mhm.
play games with that. So
Of course. Lovely approach to have, sort of
good
like
question.
finding a way to like where you take it like actually get students involved, because it can be easy to like just for something like this when we are in a webinar call it a day by just lecturing at a camera for however long, but like taking that extra step to get students involved, that's great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just double back on MindTap. We have simulations in there. That's how we do the involving. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and every there's video animation that goes along with it, and instant feedback from the grade book, so you know exactly where you stand. So
Okay.
that's how we involve you,
All
and
right.
it's on your time.
That's perfect, and that's definitely great. So, okay, you've talked a lot about it like you talked about how you teach, you've also sort of like given me a sense with the on your time like idea that you're getting at here. What do you expect from students that enroll in these courses?
Well, it's really it's in their hands. So I'm more of, like I said, a guide. It's student centered. Everybody needs something different. I think they should, help let me help them develop a guide, a study guide, and there's a little bit of trust. Trust is a big thing, so that they don't know you, but I've mentored apprentices and journeymen for that matter in my career, and it does come down to trust. You're not just offering offhand advice here. So when it comes to the students' progress, they have to want it. You can't want it more than they do. And you're there for 2 hours a week, and you set some goals for them or help them work through questions, maybe get some email questions during the week. But I do check the grade book to see how everybody's working along. But it's really, following the study guide of the plan and understanding, like each category, the Red Seal construction electrician has a certain weighting, so to speak. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and sort of to build on that, like how much time would you say on average, even like a student needs to take ownership of their own, but how much time should they be blocking off per week to stay on track with these courses?
Well, it's different for everybody because there's a different, level of entry here. So we don't turn away anybody. Um, some people have, language barriers, and the system that we use, or the platform we use, offers a lot of assistance that way. So there's many resources in there that will help develop or create that kind of environment for studying and learning. So I'd say it kind of differs, but I would expect to put in at least 10 hours a week. That would be a minimum, and that's beyond the 2 hours. But try to blank out so many hours every other day if you can, some on the weekend.
Yeah, of course. Like it's learning. Like it definitely like you definitely get the most out of it when you're willing to put a little bit of time into it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, do these courses like include any practice exams in general, or is it most basically just the activities for the LMS you were talking about?
Yeah, there's both.
Okay.
So we offer um, real specialized questions based on the weighted Red Seal subjects. So, but it's nice, to do more broad questionnaires, like after so many, after I would say probably halfway through, depending on the group, we start blending them together so it looks more like a larger exam, not just one subject. For example, like a safety subject, you don't want them just sitting by themselves the whole time, so it's compartmentalized. You want to be able to mix them with calculation questions, code questions, practical questions.
Of course.
And yeah, so it's more like a progression. So you just wait and see how the group's moving along, and then somewhere there's a tipping point, maybe 2/3 of the way through week 6, where it's all code question. That's what everybody's interested in. How do you get them your speed up? How do you know to find each one with precision? So the code book is, if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of interesting read. I mean, it's like it's a legal document, so takes a lot of practice. So we kind of start off slow with it, and we build you into it.
Mhm.
But if you've been in the apprenticeship or in Canada working as an electrician, you're just not unfamiliar. The people that are outside Canada that use their code books in their country, they're definitely familiar with a code book. But what my challenge is that, or their challenge in mine, is to get them familiar with ours and get them dialed in.
Of course, like different standards, there's probably a bit of unlearning as much as there is learning.
Well, you would think that they'd be really close, between even U.S. and Canada, and most people think they are, but the layout is completely different. It's mostly the layout. So the rules that basically the rules are, they come from the same place more or less. Everybody wants electrical safety, and
Hmm.
uh, they want to protect against electric shock and fire. But the concept of getting down to the nitty gritty on certain subjects and drilling down is totally different in format. So
Yes, yes.
that's the challenge if you're coming. I've had students that came from UK, and you know, the that's what their challenge is. They've already, they're already skilled and everything in their country, but they just need a little help to get through ours.
I can imagine, like, I format and like how things work and processes. Like, I am very familiar with like how much that can make or break how well you actually do on this test, even if you know all the material. So it's great that we're doing this.
Yeah. Oh, it's unbelievable. Like, to actually hear it back from them, how strange it is. That's why I know there's a big difference. I've never seen their code book in the UK or anything like that, or I'm not familiar with theirs. But I mean, they have the same goals. It's just the format. So it's not a different language either. It's just a different way of approaching the like finding the answers or
Of course.
and pulling it out. And if you're writing a intensive test or exam, then time's a factor, and not being completely sure if you're going to be able to find the answer in time. That's that's
Yeah,
stressful for a student. So
of
that's what
course.
we try to get them work through the pressures of dealing with the format of the code book.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. So, talking about that, we're going to pivot a little bit more to talking about like the exam compared to the course right now.
Yeah.
So, like, you've obviously mentioned like needing to know the code book to not run out of time, and that's probably one part of like the answer to this question. But how would a student be able to efficiently spend their time on the exam so they can answer everything, do the best they can?
Um, well, the, there's always, level one questions. If you're familiar with writing tests at anything, there's probably, high percentage of level one questions from lab theory or code. Okay, so you could translate that to lab sort of practical or theory or code. And in theory, it could be something that's conceptual or whatever. It's kind of more. It makes you kind of sit back and think, or a calculation that involves maybe a little more than a level one question, where you have to get the information from the code book and then apply the formula or something like that. So that kind of makes it a level two question. So if it's not really fresh and you're not really, you don't see it, within maybe 35 seconds, you should probably push that one off to the side, come back and get it at the end. Because what it's doing is it's trying to get both sides of your brain working. And, the level one questions, they only need the one side. They only go after the left side of your brain. They're the low hanging fruit, I call them. That's
Yep.
pretty popular, yeah,
Oh,
expression. Anyway, you want to go after those ones first, because a level one question, after you've been through a couple of those tough ones, could start looking like a level two question, or worse, you could just blow it all together because of exhaustion. So I suggest that if you can't get it fairly certain you can't get it in 25, 30 seconds, best off to, skip that one and come back. So you want to get it's volume, it's quantity, right?
Okay.
Quantity.
Yeah. All right. So, does the number of questions change year over year? Like, how, just because I might need the refresher myself. So, like, how long are these exams, and how many questions normally?
4 hours, and there's 100 questions. So basically, the each subject, going into with the RSOS, the National Occupational Analysis, each subject's going to have what percentage, and that's what we go over in class. So the percentage for common tools, something like 11%. So you're dealing with 11 questions. That's the way I kind of break it down. And basically, you're going to have, most of those are going to be fairly standard questions, like safety questions, your ladder, your hand tools, power tools, things like that. So, or fire extinguisher. So
Important things to know.
Yeah, so you get the general area where, and we supply with information that, surrounds that. So in every category. So,
Okay, there you go. So, in terms of like you've sort of talked about this a bit with like students who might be coming and writing this where English isn't their first language and like that's a barrier to them doing well. Or like others are what can I do if I need an accommodation for something like that on these exams? Or there's another thing that's impacting my ability to like write this exam.
Well, you work with the ministry or administration. They're definitely heads up on that. In the case where there's a language barrier, you get a translator. You'd have to provide that, unless you're in a formal apprenticeship program, and then you would still have your translator.
Okay.
But when you're outside of it with us here on this here end of it, it's all on you, and the translator can sit with you and everything. So they're very accommodating.
Of course. Basically, just let them know you need it, arrange whatever it is, and you'll be good to go on test day.
Yeah, we're not trying to teach English. We're trying to see if we get electricians out there. So
yeah, completely different knowledge base right there. Yeah.
And I couldn't do it in their language, so good on them.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. Okay, so what do you think we're going to pull it back to the course art a little bit. What do you think students are going to like the most about taking these classes? Like I think I have an idea, but like I want to hear what you would say.
Well, I think it's probably one of their first decisions regarding their own training. So this is them deciding that they want to do something. They're probably younger people that maybe went through in a high school and then maybe started apprenticeship program, and for whatever reason didn't finish or are coming back. They think that they've got all the requirements to meet the ministry's standards, and basically they probably do. But now it's in this case it's them who's in control. So they have the tools that they're, Ashton's made sure that they have the tools available, and it's more about what they need, not what a templated version of what a complete class needs, because there's people that are so diverse. It's not one size fit all. We recognize that, and this program, MindTap from Cengage, offers a unique platform that allows the students, digital products that are they've been around. They're on every the textbook I'm referring to, Delmar 7th edition, Standard Book of Electricity, is probably in every instructor's desk or bookshelf. it's, the slides are still being used. It's current and up to date, and I know that because I did some editing with it. So I did
Oh,
some
wow.
editing. Yeah. So it's not just me who's comfortable with it. It's, the country's comfortable with it. It's been around, and it keeps updating every couple of years. So, but it'll give us a platform to be able to bring things nicely into one place. So I can bring in some extra resources like the Red Seal exams, practice exams that I have from the Red Seal website. Yeah, or just some questions that shared along my with my friends, or the new people I work with. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And then, like, to take us a little bit further, like, can we talk for a moment about like the demand for like a Red Seal certification? Because I'm sure there are some people that might think that like they're on the bubble and trying to understand why it's so important they need this if they might have been working in their field for like 10, 15, even longer, and like just coming to get it now.
Well, I think really the big push is people are companies are, they don't want to pick up the liability of untrained people, or safety is first. It's paramount. And in the I'm going to refer to a different document, ARC Flash. If you're not familiar with it, it's CSA Z462. So companies and government are really, they're really getting behind this ARC Flash safety. So warning labels, they're being, the what to recognize for hazards. The risk analysis is critical for electricians, and it's a requirement of a Red Seal electrician to understand the safety hazards, and that falls in line with the ARC Flash.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk a little bit about CSA Z462, but and if you're not familiar with that one, you might be familiar with NFPA 70E. That's the US version, which is kind of like the same or mirror. They definitely do work together. They look alike. There's a lot of similarities. You could get questions from those documents too. One from the CSA one, I would assume, but it's sort of something that gets sort of misunderstood when performing your duties as an electrician, even though OSHA, OH&S, they are clear on making sure you're a qualified person. So the definition of a qualified person by law from OSHA is defined in the CSA Z462. So you can see how this is getting a little confusing. We kind of got away from the code book here, but the point is that everybody knows occupational health and safety. And they know they are the law for safety, and they preside over the electrical safety as well. So what they want to ensure is that they have qualified people working on electrical components, and they're performing lockout, tagout, so on and so on. Well, they are the why you're doing it. They explain you will work safe, period, and how to comply with the law is found in CSA Z462. So what brings us back to is some of these articles from the ARC Flash and so on are referred to in the code book. So you have to, or you shall put that's a common phrase. That means you will put whatever they say after that phrase. You shall. That's how they enforce it. So the idea is that in the code book, so the CSA people are saying that's who writes the Canadian Electrical Code Book too. So they're saying in there you will put labels based on the energy available for arc flash and so on your electrical equipment. So they're kind of bringing it all together. Before, I think it was just a little more disjointed, where OSHA was over here, and it kind of people thought, okay, as far as trades, it meant more about trenching, or it meant stuff about how many porta potties you need on the job site. But it was always there. It's always the electrical safety, and they are the law. So now the CSA people with the arc flash are really short. They're really bringing it to tying it all together. So the electrical code book is law, but the CSA is just a standard that more or less how you will follow the law. So you can consider it law if you want, because that's what the OSHA and CSA people agree to.
Okay.
Yeah. So if an employer was to employ somebody, I know there's a long explanation, Matt. Probably
Yeah,
we're looking for
no
that.
worries, no worries. Like it's sort of like saying it's not just that you're proof that you're qualified, but it's proof you
Yeah.
can meet all the standards and you're safe.
Right. And employers, see, they're the ones that are on the hook if they don't make sure their people are qualified. And the definition of qualified is going to be Red Seal.
Boom.
So,
Simple little system.
well, they just can't let the people wriggle around and not be certified. I mean, you can have apprentices on it. They're qualified
Yep.
to work under a journeyman, supervised. Okay.
Yes.
And that can go on for so long. But then at some point, the ministry decides, hey, you're going to be testing, or you're out. So the goal is to get to Red Seal and be qualified. And I think that's what really everybody wants. So
yes.
But there is sort of a step to it, a step-by-step process that they expect you to follow.
Of course.
And they just want people to get hurt. And the employers, they don't want people hurt either.
Yeah, no, nobody wants anyone hurt.
Working together. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So like this is basically, if you don't have it, this is the best thing you can do for your career.
Right. Well, it's going to be your liability if you don't, if you're not qualified. You have to work safe, and that means you have to be qualified. The employer has to provide you with the information, and they're basically verifying by saying you have the Red Seal. I'm putting you with a qualified person. Now, if you're an unqualified person or an apprentice, you're pretty vulnerable if you're not working around or with a qualified person. That's not fair to you. So that employer wouldn't be doing you any favors. So
all right.
That's why the Red Seal is our basic best ticket here for the country, because everybody knows people travel for work. People are qualified if they have the Red Seal.
All right, beautiful. So I'm gonna put together a couple of similar questions on my list right now. So like obviously like you talk a lot about this being like great for like people to like how like this is something that people can take to put themselves forward, do something for their own learning, their advancement. Like what's the benefit of doing a course like this online, and like and sort of going along with this, why come here to Ashton College for it?
Well, Ashton was open to it when I brought it up to them for using MindTap. I'm not sure if anybody else is using it. It's a very convenient platform that allows you to work on you can even download the books on your own cell phone and read and watch your videos so it's not expensive. That's so convenience, I'd say, is a big part of it. It's portable, and you'll have it for 6 months. So it's not just the 8 weeks. You're going to have this for 6 months. That's the only offer that Cengage offers is the smallest package. But because not everybody learns at any specific speed. So my thoughts are if people want to sign up early and find out more about MindTap and prepping themselves, it totally makes sense to me for them to join in. But they definitely have to talk to the Ashton admin team. For far as my understanding of MindTap and the electrical industry, they're not just offering the electrical books or courses through MindTap. There's many other subjects. I was the first trade instructor to use it in 2015. Actually, yep.
So there
I've
we
got
go.
experience using it, and I approve. Obviously, I would like to have larger dashboard, maybe a longer period of time, but that just means you add more titles. So most of the titles that you've probably seen in apprenticeship, they come from the Cengage publisher, and they also have digital products that could be used exactly the same way. But for now, we're just using, just for the Red Seal, we're just using the Delamar 7th edition. And you can look it up online to see what you think of it.
Of course. Yeah. All right. Yeah, no. So obviously, like we're right on the cutting edge. We're providing you with tools that you can get here. We're giving you a chance to work with an instructor if you're coming to take this course with us. Like, how would you say this like improves on the experience of preparing compared to a student trying to go and do it on their own?
Well, they definitely need a guide, because you can't get out of the situation you're in with the information that got you there. Yeah, you have to bring in some new information, and that's really what I try to do. I don't try to reconstruct you or anything like that, but help reconstruct your learning and show you digital or the technology that's available. That's pretty much inexpensive from my point of view, anyway. Cheaper than a textbook. So, and the availability of it. So, you could have it anywhere you want. Really, if you have some sort of adverse learning experience, this should work for you completely. Like, some people don't like sitting in a class, and they don't like 8 hours, so on. So, they want to learn where they want to learn, not look like they're learning. This is it. You're not pretending to learn anything. You're not comparing what everybody else got on something or anything like that. It's all about you. So,
Yeah.
all that stigma's gone.
Yeah, no, and that definitely makes everything feel like that much later when you're just worrying about yourself. And like that sort of so I guess that sort of leads into, what does success on the Red Seal exam look like for you? Because obviously success on one metric is passing and having it, but like what other way, are there any other ways you would define like success when you take this approach to learning and getting ready?
Well, it's really about you taking control, and when you do that, you're empowered. You're empowering yourself, and that really says a lot. A lot of people have just been told what to do, over and over and over again. Do this, do this, do this. This is, you are the one that's in the driver's seat. So it's not somebody saying to you, finish this on this date, finish this on that date. This is a prep course. Okay. There's, ample amount of resources. There's lots of time. Some people do like to be, told exactly, what to do and so on. And, that seems to work for them, but that's basically memorization. Okay. So memorization can only take you so far. If you don't have the I want to understand attitude, you got to work towards that. And the way to get to there is you have to take control. You have to take responsibility. If you, for whatever reason, some class that you've been in, you thought, oh, I should have got this or should have got that or whatever, because you you thought, well, don't worry about all that. This here is you taking control. All that goes out the window. There's a systematic approach where you set up your own study guide. You follow the study guide, meaning, if you get kids or whatever, you still maybe you stay home instead of going out, and you do a little bit of your practice. You open up your ebook. If you don't feel like reading, it'll read to you. If you want to, if you want to just listen to a couple of videos, see, it's like getting a kind of an accomplishment. Our brains are designed to reward us with dopamine, believe it or not. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for recognizing patterns in stories and accomplishments. So you recognize the beginning, the middle, and the end. Your brain gives you a little hit of dopamine, so it feels good. I accomplished something. You recognize some pattern. Well, you're gonna feel that way using this product, and it's kind of like a little post-it note. So instead of just memorizing, your brain just said, here's a little post-it note on that topic or whatever. So you find, it actually can be built. You can actually know something and take it over into a practical application, or, so that's kind of how you restructure the constructivist way.
Yeah, that's beautiful because, like, I mean, memorization, anyone can memorize something. You can train someone to beat a test. Doesn't mean you'll know what to do when you're asked to actually do it. And I love that this approach that you're taking is like making sure you know what you're doing as much as you know what's going to be on there.
Yeah.
All right. And that's all, basically everything I had prepped, unless you had any final thoughts or any comments you wanted to add before we did a check to see if anyone had any questions.
I wrote something down here. Nope. I think you got it all.
Hey, it happens that way.
You're very thorough. Yeah.
I try. All right. Hey, Rika, any questions have we had any questions come in? And if you're watching right now through Zoom, we have a little Q&A down at the bottom of your screen. You can just click that and type your answer.
Hi guys. So I just have one question, basically mostly coming from Facebook. Someone's wondering, like, if can I become a Red Seal certified if my training took place outside of Canada? Not sure if that has been answered already, actually. So.
I don't believe I asked that.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
You have to apply to the ministry. So whatever province you're living in, they will have their, they'll actually have somebody that will review your application, and if they see that you've been performing the necessary requirements, then yeah, they'll give you a shot. No,
sounds good.
It's not that complicated. You might have to swear an oath, commissioner oath, something like that, to prove your hours or prove your statements. That would probably be, you get, if you have a letter from your employer or employers. So, they're very familiar with applicants coming in. So.
Sounds good. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Yeah, no. Yep, definitely sounds like a simple enough process, like just get everything in order, swear the oath if need be. All right. Now that we're wrapping up here today, I think it's time to let people know who might be watching now or in the future how to get in contact with us if you have any further questions. So if you want to learn more about these programs or programs at Ashton College in general in our continuing education department, you can call us at 604-899-0803. That's 604-899-0803. Or you can send us an email at ceinfo@ashtoncollege.ca. That's ceinfo@ashtoncollege.ca. We've also posted that in the Zoom chat real quick there. Otherwise, thank you for joining us today. We hope you've learned a little bit, and thank you, Chad, for joining us.